Derek, is that Roosevelt's? Because I love that shirt and I've never seen it.
No.
Where did you get
it? Is probably the shirt I wear the least, as a matter of fact. And I just happened to find it. It was kind of shoved all the way in the back of the closet. And I was like picking out my shirts for tonight. And I go, I haven't worn this in a long time. What's the name of the store on the west side? Like right by Planet Hollywood, it's the Disney store. It used to be the old Harley Davidson. That Disney style? Is it?
Target?
Yes. What's it called? Huh?
I think it's Disney style, isn't it? Right there by the balloon?
Yeah. Right there. That's
one of my favorite shirts. It's great.
Did you see the new Oogie Boogie Bash exclusive Roosevelt's? That's going to be in California.
No.
Yeah, it looks cool.
They had
Any California people?
Yeah.
5 grown people talking about shirts. That's what you get when
No,
you
I
watch
want an
the
Oogie
DVC
Boogie
show.
shirt. Call me. Message me, please. 3X. Come on. Give it to me.
Those villains shirts sold out like crazy.
Hey everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of the DVC Show. I am your host, Paul Krieger, joined as always by my lovely wife, Amy.
Hello.
We've got John Scarry, Big Fat Panda, with us.
Welcome home, everyone.
Senior Sales Associate for the DVC Resale Market, Derek DeBoer.
Hey now, happy Monday, everybody.
The Honorable Jeff Haslam.
Hey, everybody.
I hope you know when I say your name, Jeff, I go, the Honorable Jeff Haslam, and I bow, like, as I'm saying it. You don't get to see it because I'm not on camera for it, but it happens.
You should absolutely not do that.
That's
I don't
what
do it.
What I will do.
Nope.
I want you guys to know that you fully derailed that cold opening that I had planned for that show. I had something written up. It was going to be great. But you know what? We just skipped over it. We moved on and we talked about shirts for, a minute and a half. And that's what the people are here for, I guess. So
My shirt's orange.
that's a nice orange shirt. Where'd you get that? You're a pumpkin?
I'm a pumpkin.
We have fully decorated for fall here at the Krieger house. So we did that actually right around August 15th, which aligns
Happy fall. It's August 18th.
most of our friends think are crazy.
Hey, you can't see
Family
it, but there's
thinks
a
they're
pumpkin over there.
No,
But it's way...
it's right above your head.
Oh, over here.
Yep.
It's like right there, but you can't see it.
Yep.
There's a lot of pumpkins.
Well, welcome to our chaos, friends. This week we are here talking about why you should do what we did and move down to Florida because it's where everyone's moving. I'm pretty sure that the state's going to sink into the ocean one of these days because it just gets heavier every single year with more and more people. And I can hear construction in our neighborhood as we speak. They are still building houses. It's about 7 o'clock at night on a Monday, but they are still building them, which means people are coming.
Okay, after that. So this is actually a topic that has been requested many, many times from people in our DVC fan community. There, obviously, if you love Disney, you have a vested interest in Disney. A lot of people want to know what it's like to move to Florida, or, is it reasonable for a DVC member to think about moving to Florida? And just general information regarding that. So Lauren De La Cruz, one of our moderators and contributors on DVCFan.com, she did an excellent article that we would like to kind of use as a reference point for this show. And I believe, what was that article called? Something about, is DVC the gateway to living in Florida? Yeah.
Yep, that was exactly what it was called. So
I got it.
Can you tell this was Amy's topic because she got all serious real quick? She was like,
Just tell people
"Stop
it's
your
like
nonsense."
doomsday,
Stop.
like sinking into the ocean.
I wasn't saying that. I'm just saying that eventually. I
Carnage.
just feel like I don't know how we keep building houses. Every time I drive down the interstate, I'm just like, whole new development yet again.
True.
Derek, you just drove to Lakeland, which I have multiple comments about because I lived in Lakeland basically for 2 years and you never drove to see me. But I'm sure you drove by a lot of developments on your way to Lakeland too, because I feel like Lakeland is almost Orlando at this point because it's expanding so much.
I said that on the way home because we went out to the Lakeland Antique Mall for the very first time. I had never been there before. People that maybe are savvy and watch like YouTube and vloggers and stuff know that it's a really cool antique mall. Probably it's like 45 minutes from our house, and we're like 20 minutes away from Disney. But they have like Disney, merchandise and Disney props and Universal props and just some very unique stuff. And I said on the way back, I was like, I think we were on 429, the expressway, and I was like, my God, on both sides, it's a never ending sea of where it used to be like orange fields. That it's just these houses and these suburbs after complex after complex and apartments and neighborhoods, and it's just and there's just no end in sight. It's crazy. You
guys are really making this sound great.
Yeah, we're going to really let you lead this show. Before we go any further into this episode, though, I do want to give a quick shout out. As always, if you love our content, please show some love for our friends at Keyholder Vacations, which is our broader brand here at the world of DVC. And I want to emphasize Keyholder Vacations because we just launched the Keyholder Club loyalty program recently. And this is kind of a industry first when it comes to basically Disney Vacation Club or Disney Vacation Club resale. This is a multi-branded loyalty program in which you're going to earn keys for your transactions across our family of brands from Be Our Guest Vacations, DVC Resale Market, Monera Financial, DVC Rental Store. These keys never expire, and you're essentially going to add keys to your collection every single year to move up the ladder in the Keyholder Club and unlock some amazing discounts and some spectacular deals. For a quick little kind of demo and discussion of it, we have a great video from our friends at Keyholder Vacations that we're going to insert here just so that you can learn a little bit more about this program and how you can sign up.
At Keyholder Vacations, we're beyond thrilled to launch the Keyholder Club loyalty program. A one-of-a-kind loyalty club you won't find anywhere else. This is a lifetime rewards program, meaning the keys you earn never expire. You can continue doing business with us for years to come, collecting your keys and unlocking decades of rewards as you travel. Whether you're a DVC member who bought on the resale market, a guest who rents DVC points, or an avid traveler with Be Our Guest Vacations, you'll be rewarded for the travel you already love across the entire Keyholder Vacations family. It's free to join. Just grab the Keyholder Vacations app on the App Store or Google Play. Create your account with the email you've already used, or if you're brand new here, create a new account and start earning keys across all of our brands. Here's how it works. Every booking and every transaction earns you keys, your path to exclusive benefits and experiences. You'll earn 1 key for every $1 in transactions with Be Our Guest Vacations, DVC Resale Market, Monera Financial, and DVC Rental Store, including when you rent out your DVC points or sell your DVC contract. Keys accumulate over time. Your tier upgrades automatically at milestones, and keys never expire, so you keep climbing trip after trip. And great news, your keys are grandfathered back to January 1st, 2024. If you've traveled or transacted with us since then, you're already on your way. Your club level reflects your loyalty status. Each new level unlocks new perks, and you keep all of the benefits from earlier tiers as you climb. Joining is free and easy. Download the Keyholder Vacations app in the App Store or Google Play and start today. Create your account. Be sure to use an email that you've used with us in the past, and start earning keys on every booking and transaction across all of our brands. Ready to unlock more from every vacation? Join the Keyholder Club today and let the memories and the keys keep adding up. Have questions? Please don't hesitate to reach out to our team at loyalty@keyholdervacations.com.
So there you have it.
Thanks, Derek.
Several of us have actually been able to play around with the Keyholder Club app. If you are looking on the Apple App Store or on the Android Store, you're going to want to look for the Keyholder Vacations app. That is where the Keyholder Club is going to live inside. Download the app. It is completely free to do so. It is free to sign up. Once you sign up, it's going to link your account across all of our different organizations. It's actually going to pull in, I believe, any sales activity, any transactions that you've done with us back to the beginning of 2024. So it's going to have all of, if you've done some recent transactions with us, those are going to be pulled in to get you your qualifying tier status. Any additional questions you might have, you can direct those to loyalty@keyholdervacations.com. But wanted to go around the room real quick. Jeff, Derek, I know you guys have had some opportunities just to play around with the app. Pretty easy to use, user-friendly, everything?
Very simple to use. Like, I wish whoever designed this app designed all of the apps, because it is so simple. Like, I look at my Royal Caribbean app, for example, and just to get my loyalty status, I have to go like through 6 different screens. It's right at your fingertips. It's awesome. And it's kind of something that I think I said on a show back in, I don't remember when, that I wish Disney would do, is some kind of loyalty. So the fact that we are so Disney adjacent, I think this is a huge win for the company for sure.
Yeah. And you asked me, Paul, you summed it up perfectly. Here's the ad. It's so easy, even Derek can do it. That's how simple it is to get the app.
I want the app.
It's so good. It's so good because what I love about program is it's stuff you're doing anyway. So you're not even going in like outside of your comfort zone. You might be renting points with us already. You might be financing a contract with us already, buying a contract. So many, booking a vacation through Be Our Guest Vacations. It's all under the same umbrella. So now you just get rewarded for doing stuff that you were going to do anyway. So it's a slam dunk. The app is so easy to use. And I think it shows, if it started back in 2024, I think it shows Jeff's 37 Old Key West add-ons. So I think he should.
So Panda, I love that you're a little bit in the dark on this, because some of these things that I'm about to say are going to be new to you. I think we talked about them while you were getting your loyalty program with your dentist set up over the past few weeks.
What's the name of the app? I'm going to get it right now. Can I download it now?
Vacations. So Panda, I want to just tell you a quick little nugget about some of the things you're going to get as a member of the Keyholder Club, depending on your tier. So bronze level tier, that's the entry level tier. You don't have to spend $1 with us to actually qualify for the bronze level tier. But you guys were so fixated on shirts that I feel like I need to highlight a couple of the discounts that you get with that tier with our friends over at the Lost Bros, who we do a lot of collaborations with, and also Park Candy, which makes a lot of similar shirts.
I love Park
to
Candy,
our Roosevelts here. You've got like 2 or 3 different.
Just one. I need more.
You need more, but there's some discount codes that are going to be eligible for our bronze tier key holders. Panda, if you move up to the silver tier, you're actually going to get some onboard credit with our friends over at Be Our Guest Vacations if you book a Disney cruise with them. Then we get into some of my most exciting things that I'm I just want to tell Panda about right now. The gold tier is going to be where you get a Keyholder Club luggage tag. That was great reaction from Panda for the Keyholder Club luggage tag. He was super
like a
excited
nice
about
leather
that.
luggage tag, though. It's not these cheap ones from Shutterfly. This is quality stuff.
Yeah. Don't act so excited, Panda.
I mean, luggage tag ain't doing it. It's not moving me. Give me something else. Come on.
Okay. How about this? If you become a diamond level with the Keyholder Club, you are going to get to be on this show.
No.
Yes, sir. Right there.
Right here.
Right there, sitting right next to Jeff Haslam.
All
Jeff,
right.
we need another chair. Just expense it.
That's actually pretty. That is pretty cool.
If they're gonna do it from my house, I think that's a Diamond Plus thing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Or they bring beer. Either way.
Fine, we could move it up to the Enchanted tier.
Is it supposed to be
That's
live
fine.
in the App Store already? Because I searched Keyholder Vacations and I don't find it.
I don't think it's launched yet. As of
Oh,
when
okay,
the video goes out,
It's launched as of right now, Panda.
Oh, look, there it is. There it is.
if you were in the future.
Panda, if you're an Enchanted tier level, not only are you going to get to be on this show, but also, how about we just give you a VIP tour?
Oh,
That's cool.
Isn't that pretty cool?
man.
Yeah. So obviously over time, you'll work your way up these tiers as part of the Keyholder Club. Super excited to get this launched. It has been a conversation behind the scenes for the past 2 to 3 years, I think. I've been in meetings for it. So very, very excited. Head to the App Store or the Android Store, Keyholder Vacations app. Download the app today for free. Join the Keyholder Club. It is free. And you can get some of these rewards that we've mentioned along with some others. Panda, luggage tag. How exciting.
I really do want the luggage tag now, actually. After Jeff said it's not like a little plastic one, I'm like, okay, let me see.
All right. Now that I've fully sabotaged and hijacked your show, Amy, take us on a journey to being a Floridian.
Can you pull up Lauren's
A
article?
Grand Floridian, if you will.
Oh, yes. Lauren did write a great article about this. It's called The Gateway to Living in Florida. It's over on DVC Fan. We'll put it in the link below in the show notes here. But I think first is being a Disney Vacation Club member. It is kind of the first gateway. I think we can answer that question because you actually own something. You actually own, I always like to say I owned the zebra tile in Animal Kingdom Lodge when I first bought.
Yeah. Or a doorknob. I think that's a big thing for people. So you're already kind of invested from a financial standpoint, from a real estate standpoint. You own this vacation club. Now, that doesn't make you a Florida resident. We get asked that a lot. And
Right.
So we'll get asked, if I buy DVC, does that make me Florida resident, that I can get the Florida resident rate for annual passes and pay the monthly payment? Unfortunately, it does not. You do have to be a Florida resident. But if you own DVC, you're kind of already, you're partially there. You're probably here a lot. I know that when we became DVC members, before we were coming to Disney, like once every couple of years. And then once we became a member, it became, a couple times a year to 4 times a year to, I think we did 5 times one year.
It just became so much more accessible knowing that not only do we have the points, but we had a direct flight from Pittsburgh at the time, which made it very easy to jump down here. And you just wanted an excuse to do it. Like I remember that the one time that we did it, we were super excited. We got down here, then we got stuck for like 2 or 3 extra days because of a hurricane. And that was also like a lot of Disney Vacation Clubs, like their first hurricane experience is related to a Disney Vacation Club stay because they happen to be here during hurricane season and they either get stuck or a trip gets affected. It actually impacts more Disney Vacation Club members than we actually probably think about when it comes to it, because it is a constant question during this time of the year. And especially right now because Hurricane Aaron has
I think Jeff wrote out a hurricane at Riviera, didn't he? Before you lived here?
Yep.
Yeah. Definitely. But, in general, I just think if you're coming down here a lot, you own DVC, a lot of people get to the point where they don't want to leave. You know what I mean? Or they don't want to go back to, granted, you still got to go back to reality. You still have to work no matter where you live. But, going back to sometimes cold weather, that's a big one for a lot of people. So just being a DVC member, I think, is kind of like a first step for a lot of people.
Derek took that first step. He then took the second step of moving here, and he took a third step of deciding to dedicate his life to it as well. So, Derek, tell us a little bit about your journey down to Florida. I don't feel like I ever knew the story of what actually brought you here other than probably Disney.
Yeah. It definitely was Disney. I was a Disney Vacation Club guide direct in right outside Chicago for many, many years. I was eventually given an opportunity to join the Disney Cruise Line Disney Vacation Club team. So that was about in 2013, 2014, I think, somewhere around then. So that's when our family, we packed up and moved from Northwest Indiana, came down here to Florida. It definitely is an adjustment. So I can tell you that it takes, and I've talked to other people too that have made the change, whether it's from the Midwest or whether it's from the East Coast, it just takes a little bit of an adjustment time. I think for us, it was probably maybe a couple years. Ours was a little bit different because when I first moved here, then I was on the cruise team. So I was kind of traveling a whole bunch. So I was gone, maybe half the year, gone a week, home a week, blah, blah, blah. So my wife was here with 2 little kids at the time. Now they're 20 and 16. And I'm sure she had many moments back in 2014 as I'm off, sailing around the world selling Disney Vacation Club. And she's got the little kids there. She's saying, what did I do? Why did we do this? But in the end, it's the best decision we ever made. I cannot ever go back to the Midwest. Since then, my brother and his family and my niece and nephew, they all moved down here to Florida. So a lot of times, and I know Jeff has been in that situation too, where, once you move down here, you might have friends that want to come down there with you as well. But for us, I never look back. I mean, every day I count my blessings. I don't know how deep we want to kind of get into it. We rented at first. So when we first moved down here, weren't quite sure of like the neighborhoods. We weren't quite sure of this. So we wanted to get a feel. So we rented for 2 years. And during those 2 years is when we visited different neighborhoods. And then we happened to stumble on where we are, which is in a part of Florida called downtown Windermere. So it's right near a bunch of lakes and it's just idyllic for us. We absolutely love it. Like, I couldn't be happier. And I don't know if I'd want to live in Florida if I didn't live where I live. So we took our time and we did our research and explored neighborhoods because, again, there's a lot to be able to pick from. You know, how close do you want to be right behind Cinderella Castle? You can't. Like, literally, you can have places, there's houses right there. Do you want to be more towards like middle of the road? Do you want to be like 30 minutes away, 45 minutes away? Do you want, lots of other houses around you? Do you want space? There's a lot to look at when you come. So definitely, like when you buy DVC, research is very important. But again, our main thing that made us so happy is doing the research and figuring out location wise. Like, I want it to be close enough to Disney. So we're about 20, 25 minutes away. We're maybe 15 minutes from Universal. We're, 2 hours from Vero Beach. So our location was key for us. Whereas maybe for you, you might want to be near, a bigger city. You might want to be near Tampa, or you don't drive you don't want the 45 minutes to an hour commute to get to Disney every single time. So that's where taking your time and doing research. But every winter, as much as I dread the hurricane season, I'll take hurricane season any day over having to go through a Chicago winter again. I'm too old for that.
Yeah.
Panda, I know it wasn't DVC that maybe drove you here, but it was Disney to a certain degree. What would be some of those takeaways or some of those things you would tell someone that's thinking about making this leap?
So it's just very weird to me that my moving to Florida started at 5 years old when I was on the ferry boat and I saw the Magic Kingdom. I hadn't even gone yet. I just saw it. And I said to my father, this exists and you never showed it to me before? People can live like close to this? I said, Dad, I'm going to move there one day. And he's like, yeah. And that was my focus since that visit. But yeah, I did it the opposite, where I moved here first because I wanted to be near Disney and then bought DVC. And the amount of people that tell me, I don't need DVC, I live local. Oh. I'm flabbergasted because it works so good if you're local, because you have more, you can look at the availability and say, I need a night here or 2 nights here. And it's so much easier to be flexible. Tomorrow, I'm going to, the resorts, the DVC. And being local just makes it better. I'm a half hour away from Disney, but I'm still going on that little mini vacation that makes me, remember when I was in New York and that how you lose that planning excitement. You still get it if you have DVC. Yeah. So, mine was a little different, but being a local does not mean you don't have to get DVC. It's great as a local.
It's actually funny because we've heard the statistic before multiple times that actually the makeup of Disney Vacation Club members, there is more ownership that are Florida residents that are Florida based than any other state. So it is the case in which those people that live here are some of the people that either bought and then moved, or like us, bought and then moved and then bought more.
Or like Panda.
Or like
moved and then later bought and realized, I want some like little getaways at Disney. Panda, when did you move to Orlando area?
Gosh, it was 22 years ago.
Yep.
And it was a dirt road, like the Gilded Age outside my house. I mean, it really was a dirt road. And now the traffic is, it reminds me of New York sometimes on 27. You guys know. Mm-hmm. But I'm shocked at how it changed from 22 years ago.
Yeah. And Panda, you picked kind of the same general area that Amy and I have now settled in, which is kind of the Claremont area. It's a little bit norther than the parks, but also takes out the I-4 equation. Would you change the location? We could do a whole other show on location of like where you moved, but I feel like the fact that you picked this area that many years ago, my mind is blown. I'm just like, you picked the perfect spot.
A friend a friend who worked at the Animal Kingdom Lodge is the one that told me when I said I'm thinking of moving there. He goes, there's this little town called Claremont. He goes, it's like a sleepy little town. It's far enough away where you don't get the tourists. It was affordable. And he said that, it's up and coming because right now there's only orange groves there, but a lot of them died and they're making houses there. There were like no houses. Windermere is my favorite where Derek is. At the time, I don't even think I could afford it or look, but Claremont was really, $200,000. You got a house that was $700,000 on Long Island. So it was a no-brainer for me to be there. But now, it's built up now. It's crazy. I love that you don't have to get on I-4. You can just take the back roads, 20 minutes, and you're in, Magic Kingdom. Yeah. So I do like that.
So many people ask us the question all the time, like, where should I move? What area? And I think we've hit on it already. Like, you've got to experience places. You've got to, and as I was going to say, Lauren mentions in her article that, the ability to have DVC points allows you to explore a little bit outside of the Disney bubble. So if this is something serious that you're considering about that full move to Florida, use some of those DVC trips. Yeah. Take those points, rent a car, and explore some of these areas. Because it's definitely not an answer that I feel like any of us on this call can really give someone because it's so individually based. Like Derek said, he rented for a few years. Jeff, you rented for the first year when you actually moved here, right? Tell us a little bit of your story.
Yeah, we did. And we did exactly what you said, Paul. We came down for spring break on a Disney Vacation Club trip. We were at Boardwalk for a week. We sent the kids to the park, and Amy and I got in the rent-a-car and made some trips to some neighborhoods. We walked through some model homes, some new construction. But I know, again, you just said we could do a whole show on location, but as somebody that's in real estate professionally, I can't stress enough that you should get yourself a professional, somebody that you trust. Not me. I'm not an agent. I'm an appraiser, but I don't want my messenger blowing up saying, "Hey, help me buy a house." But I hear people all the time. Well, we want to be within an hour of the parks. Well, that's the entire Central Florida from coast to coast,
right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Disney World is so big and so massive that it really you need to narrow down what you are wanting and what you're used to. So, for example, we came from Utah. We live on the Wasatch Front in Utah, which is, suburban Salt Lake City. Everything was very, very close to us. Target was 5 minutes. Home Depot was 5 minutes. I made a joke when I went back a couple months ago to visit family that I was able to pick up my rent-a-car, hit the burger joint, hit the swig, drop off my dry cleaning, and be at my dad's house, and all that took an hour. In where I live, that's 4 different days worth of errands. You can't do that all on the same day. You just can't, right? And so it really depends on what you're used to. If you kind of like a rural atmosphere, there's a lot of options for that. If you want that hustle and bustle, there's a lot of options for that. And there really is a budget, something for every budget in Florida. Polk County tends to be a little lighter on the pocketbook as opposed to Claremont and Lake County and, Lake Nona and some of those places. So really dial in what you're used to so that you can kind of find what you want. Because our biggest shock was we almost bought a house sight unseen in Auburndale, which is a beautiful town. It was a brand new construction subdivision. We went down on that trip, like I have money in hand, ready to put down the down payment. And as we're driving to it, I'm like, where are we? Like there's a water tower and like we just drove through a mobile home park to get to the subdivision. And the first question I asked the model home agent was, how far am I to Target? And they said, oh, well, you got to go to Lakeland, which is like a half-hour drive rather than around the corner to my house. That was immediately a no. Like, we're like, that is not for us. It's a great area, but it's not for us. So I just can't stress enough that you spend the time before you move to learn about where you want to be.
And I would just add to it, too, Disney is a reason why a lot of people move here. But as much as you move here for Disney, realize that your local community is what is most important. Like Jeff said, we originally had signed on a house in Lake Alfred, Florida, similar area in Polk County. We actually ended up changing it because they got behind on construction, but we were very happy about that because it was that same scenario, Jeff, where it was like, where's the Walmart or Target or grocery store,
Right, it
like
was
big
far.
box store. It was, you were headed all the way to Winter Haven, or headed out to Lakeland, which again was 20 or 30 minutes further south. At the time when we were buying, the market was so crazy here. I mean, it was a seller's market. You could ask any price for a house and get over asking price for it. And we needed a house to have some land with the dogs. And that's what kind of drove us a little bit further away. So we actually compensated. And for 2 years, if we had to be on Disney property for something,
3 years.
it was 3 years. If we had to be on Disney property for something, it was a 2-hour drive that we would basically carve out 2 hours. Some days we would be there in an hour and 15 minutes, and some days we would be there in 3.5 because something happened on I-4. So that is how unknown it was. But I also say that the area that we lived in, we did like. We loved how close Lakeland was. Bartow was just south of us. So that's what made it livable for us for 3 years, is that we did have those things about it around us.
Right. Because when you move to Florida, and especially if you're a DVC member, you're probably used to coming to Disney. You're at Disney for a week or so. You're spending all your time at Disney. Well, your relationship with Disney World is going to change. And that is something you have to consider when you're thinking about moving. For us, it went from that, it's very exciting, getting on the airplane, driving to the resort, and then we're there for, a week, or, something. We did trips as long as, 12 days or whatever. And you're always buying the lightning lane, and so your relationship going to change when you become a local. You're not going to be there for several days at a time. You have to work. You've got grass to mow, laundry to fold. More often now we're there for one night, we're there for maybe an afternoon, or even if we do stay a few nights, it's because there's something like a race going on, or we're going to an after party, a Halloween party or Christmas party. It just, your relationship changes a little bit, and it goes from spending a whole day in a park, buying and getting, taking advantage of every little thing you can to maximize your time, to ride as many rides as you can. And that changes to, I'm gonna sleep a little longer. We're gonna head over, maybe in the afternoon. We're gonna get something to eat. We're gonna ride maybe like one or two things, and then we're satisfied. Yes. So it does kind of change that relationship. I used to be worried that, I always said, I'm afraid that moving to Disney will eliminate that magic for me, that I feel, but it hasn't. If anything, I'm still happy. I'm so excited when we go. I'm a little spoiled though, because we get to see the resorts and see the parks a lot, but also it's helped us to branch out. It gives you the time to branch out and kind of do other travel as well. You know what I mean? And even if that's, we finally got to go to Vero Beach, and we finally got to go to Hilton Head, and hopefully Alani soon, but also other things, like cruises and stuff like that.
Well, and that's what I was just going to chime in and say too, is, you go from going to Disney for a week hard to going once a week or once a month or whatever. Like Derek's once a month, I'm once a week. Paul, Amy, Panda, you're kind of in between us, I think. But it's for 2 or 3 hours. It's not all day. Yeah, but that was a big factor for us, is moving here. We didn't move here for Disney. Our family, our friends asked that all the time. Did you guys move there to be closer to Disney? That was a part of it. But we also got tired of the snow, and we got tired of some of the other Utah goings on and things like that. And we were just kind of in a place where we wanted something fresh and new. But what a byproduct of that, if you will, is, there's a joke that we always say is people that move to Disney go through 3 phases. You go annual pass at Disney, and then you go into your cruise phase, because there's 5 cruise ports within 2 hours of Disney. And then after that, you expand to Caribbean and Europe and things like that. We're on our cruise phase right now. We've got 3 booked in the next year or something. So it does give you the option to use that vacation money that you were spending on Disney for other things, but it changes your relationship with Disney. Chances are you bought DVC or are thinking about DVC for one of 2 reasons. Either you're coming a lot and you want to save money, or you want to come more. And so it definitely changes. And there's a flip side to this coin that I know Amy wants to talk to about. There are some negatives that we'll get into, but Disney is familiar. Disney is comforting to all of us. It's a love that we have, and so it makes it seem really, really awesome. And it is. It's great, but it's going to change your whole world in a way that you never thought of. As far as how frequently you do the parks and whether you ride Figment 7 or 8 times every trip and those things.
So I want to talk about two things. First, I do want to touch on the drawbacks, because if you're doing your research and if you're watching the show, but because you've asked us to do a show where we talk about moving to Florida, there are things I do think you need to be aware of and know, and just to have on your radar. But before we get to
I agree, Amy. Bagels and pizza. I
agree. Before we get to the bagels and pizza, we do want to talk about, why move to Florida, besides the fact that you love Disney. If that's your only reason, I think you're going to have a tough time in Florida. Yes. But if you are moving for multiple different reasons, I think there's a lot of great reasons why you might want to live in Florida. So Paul, what is one thing that you love about living here that is not related to the parks?
So I'll give you two, because as you were talking, there were two that came to mind. First, for me, and this is going to sound like blasphemous for a lot of people, but it's the weather. You moved to Florida for the weather, and I'm not talking necessarily about the heat. I'm talking about what we're headed into right about now, which is we're heading into end of August, 1st of September, where the insane highs start to calm down, and it is beautiful in the evenings. Mm-hmm. And you get that weather starting now through about the first or second week of April, or even longer, depending on what the weather systems are doing this year compared to last year. Does it get hot? Yes. Yeah, it's Florida. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. It does get hot. And as people in the Northeast maybe hibernate during the winter months, we kind of hibernate a little bit more in that July time frame, where it just gets absolutely...
But can still go out.
My wife still drags me out after a long day work to run a 5K for some reason.
I know. We almost died on Sunday.
Yeah. I asked Alexa what the notification was before we started running on Saturday, and it was that there was a heat advisory in the Claremont area. And I said, great time to run 7.5 miles. But
we just stopped at the Circle K on the way home.
The Circle K saved us. If they were not open, didn't take Apple Pay, then I'm not sure we would be here doing this show right now.
But with that said, you're getting almost spring, fall weather almost 8 months out of the year. You know what I mean? Yeah. Really, I would say mid-October all the way until even mid-May. The weather is amazing.
It is the times of year that you remember from other places. If you're from the Northeast, like we are, from places that have more climate fluctuations, it's those times of year, early fall, early spring, those feels are with you for a lot of the time. Yes, it does get hotter, but man, oh man, I still, even suffering through the 7.5 miles the other day, still very happy that we are here. And weather is one of those main reasons. The other one I'll hit on just goes both ways a little bit. I think for us, it went the opposite direction, which is probably more common, but I've seen a lot of people where this pans out very positively. And that is, I've heard of a lot of people moving from either California or New York, metropolitan areas that are incredibly pricey, that then... Panda, you mentioned this. What you'd pay $700,000 in New York, you can get down here for less. So yes. I think, I don't know that price differential is as great as it used to be, but I still do believe if you're moving from a big metropolitan hub, or if you're moving from the California area where I know home prices are just bonkers, you are going to save money in terms of your home down here. Now, that being said, for two people that moved from West Virginia, it is a lot more expensive here in Florida. Everything is expensive. And, some of you will come in the comments and say, well, you don't have, state income taxes. And it's like, no, they make up for that by tolling every single road that we drive on all day long. So, I would hate to see Jeff's toll bill, because I know he drives, for part of his job for a living. And so
it's true. You're absolutely right. And for people that use Magic Express or Mears or even a rent-a-car that probably just charges you as part of the trip, you know what I mean? You cannot get to the airport from Disney without a toll road.
Yep.
I mean, you could take a back road. It would take you 2.5 hours. If you're on the freeway, you're getting charged a toll. My toll bill is about $250 a month.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God.
That's a
But
crazy
my
amount.
job,
Derek's
so.
shocked, but that's only because he never leaves his house.
Yeah, right. Who's the winner here?
But yeah, I mean, the only reason that came in my head when you asked the question, though, was because I know that there are a lot of people that do move from more expensive areas that move here, and real estate is a lot cheaper. And I've heard more of that chatter more recently, I think, from people. And I know that happened. That was definitely the case during the pandemic when people were moving out of those areas like crazy down here. I mean, real estate was cheap in Florida, even though for us it was kind of bonkers and expensive, and still is. But
Okay. I just want to touch back on the weather thing. So one of Lauren's points in her article was that more stays, as a DVC member helps to get you acclimated in the in the summer, I mean. So basically I felt like that because we were coming down, I was a teacher, so we were coming in the summer a lot. So you did kind of get a feel for it already. So it's not like you don't know what you're getting into if you're, a member that goes to the parks and resorts and you come down in the summer, you know what you're getting into there. Jeff, tell me one of the things that's outside of the parks and weather that you love about living in Florida.
Yeah, and I think, and this is probably just because, I was a Utah boy my whole life, so we did everything that Utah had to offer, right? Coming to Florida, there's a lot of things outside of the Disney parks that you can do. Some are expensive, some are not. But like beaches, both coasts, Gulf of Mexico and the Atlantic, or Gulf of America, whatever we're calling it these days. We just went to the beach last night, and Amy and I both said to us, we were sitting there, it was sunset, we had a drink in our hand, and we were like, we say it every time we go out there, why don't we do this more? Because it's very easy to get there from here. It's an hour and a half, depending on traffic. There's trails and there's preserves and there's kayaking areas. There's a lot of outdoor activity that would shut down in Utah and in the in the mountain states that you couldn't do in the wintertime, so that's a big part of it. There's a lot to do when you have had enough of Disney crowds. Having said that, there's a lot of other theme parks too. Universal, SeaWorld, Busch Gardens, Legoland. There's all kinds of things in Florida, discounts and Groupons and escape rooms and restaurants. And I mean, yeah, Panda's right. There's no bagels. There's no pizza. There's just not good ones. But I think that was the biggest thing for us is we're like, all right, we get to explore this whole new world, whole new set of restaurants, a whole new set of adventures that were new to us, that we get to embrace and do things that are outside of the parks, because you will get bored of the parks. Maybe bored's not the right word, but you're not crushing it. You're going to go ride your favorites. You're going to have dinner. You're going to go home. Amy and I only go to the parks after 5, after we're done working. So we're only there for a limited amount of time. Weekends are for all these new things that we're just discovering constantly.
Mm-hmm. Derek was doing the pick me thing earlier.
No. I thought that's when you asked Jeff what was his favorite thing about living in Florida.
I want to know your favorite thing.
No. I thought he was going to say me.
Oh, you thought he was going to say you were his favorite thing. Right. That's not okay. I do think
that's adorable.
Just to touch on the weather thing, I can tell you again, I'm 52 years old. I would rather be here when it's hot, humid, and walk into a building with AC than to be outside in negative 600 degree weather, scraping my car off of ice and bundled up in winter clothes. So I will take the heat, I will take the humidity over winter any day. Because we all know, if you're from the Midwest or you're used to any kind of winters, it's real pretty when that first snow comes down and it's all magical and light and fluffy. And then you look at the stuff that's sitting out there in like March and April, and it's gray and it's black and it's heavy and it's slushy and awful snow. The weather that we're about to come into is why people move to Florida. And like Jeff said, don't do it. I just love Disney and I just want to go to the parks all the time. Don't do it. That's not reason enough to move here. I did it because of my job and because of Disney Vacation Club. that's who I work for. That's still who I work for, is selling Disney Vacation Club. So we came here for that reason, but we're so blessed that we did, because the memories that we've been able to make here since, over the last, 10, 11, 12 years of us being here, I can't imagine a better place, knowing that going to the actual Florida Keys, right, has been a part of so many big memories of my life and my kids. Again, going to, of course, Vero Beach. And like Jeff said too, what I love most about it is the fact that you have, if you want it, a world at your fingertips of the most amazing, yet maybe some of the cheesiest, touristy, theme parky things that you want to do. But you don't have to do that. You can get in a car and drive, 2 hours, and I'm on, the Gulf, which the water's completely different than if you drive 2 hours and go towards the Atlantic. And these cute little quaint beach towns and these overnight little hotels that you're able to decide. And, then if you want to venture outside the state, but there's so much in this state that we haven't really explored. And a big reason why, for anybody out there with kids, was a big thing for us that kind of solidified it with us are a lot of the Florida schools, and specifically, Florida colleges. I mean, my son goes to Florida State, which is a fantastic school. University of Florida, not as good as Florida State, but we've got great, great schools here in Florida too. So that's where you got to do your research and realize that, you're not just doing it for Disney. I love going to church every single Sunday. And after church, my wife will just spring on me and say, you know what? Why don't we go have lunch at Disney Springs? So we drive 20 minutes down the road. We get there, we walk around Disney Springs, we get a little Disney fix, and we love it. So being able to have all of that here on top of amazing nature and everything else and fantastic weather for basically 8 months of the whole entire year, come join us. Come to Florida.
Before Panda goes, I just want to touch on one more thing about the weather, because we get this asked a question a lot, especially given the last week. Hurricanes, right?
Yeah.
Hurricanes.
Yeah.
Listen, do hurricanes happen here? They absolutely do. Can they be devastating? They absolutely can. But it's the only natural disaster in the world where you get 2 weeks notice.
Pretty much.
Right?
Thank you.
And I say that jokingly, but it's true. Like, we've been watching Aaron for 10 days. And, as it starts to move forward, we keep an eye on it. We listen to Dennis Phillips. He tells us when to panic. But realistically, you have a week where they're going to say, okay, either it's going to hit or not. Well, it's coming. Yeah. All right, I'm going to go stock up on some water, grab my canned goods, maybe make sure the propane tank's full, just in case. Then it gets a little bit closer, it moves. You move on with your life. Maybe it still keeps coming. We got hit with 2 big ones last year. I think everybody in this room got pretty lucky. I think Derek maybe lost a tree into his garage or something like that.
Oh, I forgot about that.
But overall,
that's
we are
lucky.
So that it rarely a huge problem, right? So don't not come because hurricanes happens. Natural disasters can happen anywhere.
Yeah.
This is the only one that you get head start.
I was going to say exactly what Jeff said. People will be like, yeah, here in California, we got earthquakes, you got hurricanes, same thing. I'm like, no, not same thing. We get an advance warning. You don't. So, yeah.
And we're not talking about an area of the state in which you are prone to,
coastal flooding,
or any of those major things that you see when it comes to a hurricane. Like, you are seeing the impact that a hurricane typically has right when it makes landfall, which is right against the ocean. That is where the worst devastation normally is. We're talking about Orlando is basically middle of the state. And so by the time the storm even gets here, it downgrades a little bit. And, you're at worst in most situations just going to be worried about wind, a lot of rain, maybe just some localized flooding that we've seen. But this area is where a lot of those coastal towns actually evacuate too. And we covered that on, a prior hurricane show where we talked about, a lot of places, Disney World is the evacuation zone for some of these coastal towns to move into that area. So that's why we always say that if you are, looking for a place to go there during a hurricane, because it's fairly safe.
Yeah.
Good point.
So that was probably one of our drawbacks, but I do agree. You get a lot of advance notice. You know when hurricane season is every year, so you can be prepared. And I feel like we really were very prepared last year. We even boarded our house up, and it probably didn't need it. But before we talk about the rest of those drawbacks, I do just want to touch on some of the things that we really love about Florida. I know I asked Paul, but we went to a Mexican restaurant. It was like a new place on, was it Saturday? So
I just love that we're going to a Mexican restaurant.
good. I love it. So basically our date night on Saturday was Hobby Lobby, at home. So basically looking for fall decor. And then we went to a restaurant in Winter Garden that Paul found on Yelp. And then we went over and walked through like the Winter Park downtown. And it's just Winter Garden. I'm sorry, not Winter Park. Winter Garden. It's just that there's so many little places like that I find so charming. Winter Garden, downtown, Claremont, downtown Claremont, downtown, we love downtown Lakeland. If you've ever been to the Baldwin Park area, it's really cool. There's a whole little cafe that's all themed to Friends, and it's got the couch and everything. There's just so many cool little downtown areas and little shopping areas and little restaurants and breweries and things like that I feel like we've been here almost 4 years now, and we haven't even scratched the surface of all the options, all the dining and the different cuisines, and there's so much international cuisine, and it's just really very diverse as an area, and there's just a lot there that we haven't even, I feel like, tapped the surface of.
And I think part of that's where we came from too, because we were it's funny, like we came from, you can look it up on a map, Wheeling, West Virginia. It's a state. I like to emphasize that. But it was about an hour. It was about an hour southeast of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So a lot of people always ask, we say we're from Pittsburgh. It took every power of our being back then to go to Pittsburgh for a date night or for an event.
Yeah.
It was only an hour away. And you say that now coming to Florida, and you're like, I'm an hour from everything on a good day. And so an hour is nothing. So I think it's a perspective shift, but also you're talking about two people that did not come from a big city. We go back home now and we go, how did we do it here for as long as we did? Because you ask yourself on a Tuesday night, where do you want to go for dinner? And there's about 4 things that come to mind back in Wheeling.
Yeah.
That would be like those go-tos that I would probably go to. And down here, it's, you could just do Yelp Shuffle and
it's infinite.
and pick one.
Yeah. And Jeff mentioned cruise ports being driving distance to 4 or 5 cruise ports. I mean, just the opportunities are just, it's like abundant. You want to get away for a weekend, or you want to take a trip, but you don't want to have to fly. You can still leave the country, go on a cruise. So just really being down here just opens up your...
Yeah. Panda, earlier you didn't get to give us kind of your what is that thing that keeps you here and that you love?
Just strangely going back to when I was 5 years old, that it was Disney, and it always was. When you grow up, you're going to move to Florida, Disney. But I also fell in love with the palm trees that I couldn't get in New York, and I longed to be around palm trees, as weird as it sounds. I have Sicilian heritage. I don't know if there's a DNA component that made me obsessed with palm trees, but I am. So for me, it was also the memory of going into like a Main Street store and getting hit with the air conditioner after the 95-degree outside. That was part of the charm of being in Florida, as rare as I was. So I couldn't wait to be moved here. But my thing really was, the focus was Disney. There's no doubt about it. And I still adapted to everything else.
Disney, trees, and air conditioning.
Disney, trees, and air conditioning.
Things that we have abundantly here. Before we end, I do just want to just touch on some of the drawbacks, things that you just need to remember, keep in mind if you're planning on moving to Florida. Do your research. Look up, insurance prices. Like, that's a big thing. For some people, like Paul said, depending on where you're coming from, your car insurance might be less. Your property insurance might be less. But it's important to look into those things. Budget for toll roads, if that's not something. We had 0 tolls, basically, where we came from.
I had lots of tools.
Tools. It's that. Yeah.
Whole road.
It's the double O. Pool, swimming pool, light pool. I can't hear the difference. Anyway.
Just for the audio listeners out there that are now going, what are we talking about?
I'm trying. Put that into your thing. Wildlife is a little different here. We've been here for 4 years. I've never seen a live gator crawling around. We have seen a couple roadkill ones out on the Polk County Expressway. But, things that we had to get used to. Lizards. Paul has been in a battle with these lizards.
On our back lanai.
On our back lanai. I think we finally figured it out.
They've taken up residence.
Yeah, but they were getting under our little flappy thing under the door.
I replaced the flappy thing.
With my tools. What I've noticed? We
Yeah.
talk about how big the bugs are in Florida, but I think I had more bugs in my house every now and then in New York than I do in Florida because they're happy outside in this weather. They are as big as they're as big as your hand, but they're outside at least.
Well, and see, Utah is very different in that way because Utah, when it starts to get cold, they come inside, but you don't see them. Where here, like the number of things that we have to get off of our front porch of various size, color, shape. It freaked the girls out. Now, Amy and Tatum are champs now, but for the first year, it was hit and miss whether they were going back just because of the bugs, and that is not an exaggeration. They hated it.
All right, so
hey, wait here. I have to share this because your story about the Florida animals is so perfect. I remember it was almost probably within the first 6 months that we moved here. So my kids were little at the time, and where we live, we have a well. And it turned out that something happened with the well, so we didn't, for a short period of time, that didn't have water. But the kids had to wash their hair and go to school, so we're like, okay, so we don't have running water because they're coming over later today. But the kids, so Owen, just go to the swimming pool and just wash your hair in like the swimming pool. So he's in there washing his hair, and then all of a sudden he shouts out, he goes, "Help! Help!" And we look outside the screen door, and we're like, "What?" And floating on the other end of the swimming pool happened to be a tiny gator. Jumped into the swimming pool. And Annie, I remember, God bless her, she looked at me as our son was covered with shampoo and he's in a swimming pool with a gator and gave me this look like, what are we doing? Where are we? What is going on? It is. You will find critters. Do not underestimate the critters. They're everywhere.
Oh, turtles.
Yes. This thing, no, that wasn't a turtle. Do you know how big this was? I could have sat on it and got a ride. That thing was humongous. That's the half of my driveway that you're seeing.
Oh,
and that thing was walking around.
That's so
my driveway. I walked out of the house and I went. It was like from Disney, from Animal Kingdom.
Oh my goodness! So before we get too off the rails, our weirdest wildlife story is that I had to come over to Paul and I said, Paul, I need you to get something out of the yard. It's a giant fish. And so like a hawk had dropped a really big. It was like this big. Yeah.
Yep.
Our dog is barking, but
it had dropped a fish from the nearby lake that it had gotten, and it had dropped it right in our backyard. So our dogs obviously were back there barking at it. Cinders, our one dog, picked it up and carried it around the yard. But it's also
Jeff,
we have like greyhounds.
Jeff was a cop, so he knows. Paul, Amy, that was an Italian message. You pissed somebody off.
We pissed the neighbor off behind us.
Oh my god!
Can I say one
it's
other
saying
negative?
You sleep with the fishes.
I think some people don't think of when they first move down here. Maybe negative isn't the right word, but it's something that you absolutely need to be aware of. If you have a big family, if you have a lot of friends that maybe want to come visit you.
Yes.
My house, since we moved here 2 years ago, has been a never-ending hotel of friends and family that want to come stay, which is great. We love that, but they also expect you to be on vacation when they're on vacation, and that is something.
Yes.
It actually took me longer than it should have to shut that off, because I was like, I want to go with them. I want to show them a good time. I want to show them. You can't. Like, you got to say, you know what? I'll see you after work. I'll see you after the parks, because it will happen. It will.
100%.
Yeah, And it's also the perception that I think a lot of things give off. I know it's the perception that this show gives off to many people that watch it, which is that we are always talking. We are all always sitting on this call talking Disney Vacation Club, or we are all always doing a vlog in the parks. And that is actually just such a low percentage of what we do. And yet it is all that we project because we want to generate excitement about Disney Vacation Club and Walt Disney World. But the reality of it is, we have all of those basic things that you would be doing when you're not on vacation that are a part of your daily life. We are doing, like cooking dinner or laundry. We mentioned it earlier, cutting the grass, got to take the car to get an oil change, got to go get a haircut, definitely need one. But those are all of those things that for us, those fill our days and fill our weeks. And it's not parks all the time. Is it wonderful and convenient that they are right there? Yes. But I mean, yeah, Jeff, you kind of got to just eventually just sort of say, great, can I meet you for dinner on Thursday? Like,
Exactly.
Because otherwise there is that expectation of like, you're always going to be in the parks and always be in the resorts.
Always.
And I would just add to kind of, just round out our discussion here is to make sure that you, for all of these reasons, make sure that you have a solid plan. Like if you're retiring to Florida, great. You've worked very hard all your life. You hopefully have the funds set up where this is going to be a great retirement destination. But if you're trying to make this make sense for your family, make sure that those key things line up. Make sure that you know that financially it's going to work, because God forbid you travel halfway across the country and get here and realize that you either can't afford it or you didn't set up the right job. Who knows what those situations are. I know for Amy and I, we discussed moving to Florida probably about 3 years before we ever even began to think it could be a reality, because there were just so many check boxes that we knew our heads we had to be comfortable with. And so like you've got to have those, I always say you've got to have those hard conversations early on in that discussion. And I think that's a negative only because it is hard to have those conversations sometimes.
And I think too, Paul, is that everyone thinks of the Disney bubble. And I think that's very important that you said that when you're moving here, you're not living in the Disney bubble. You're not in the bubble. So you're moving to, quote unquote, the whole state of Florida. So that's where things you have to look at. Not everything is 100% perfect when you're in that Disney bubble, because it's life. So if you're coming here, especially, and I touched on it earlier too, if you're coming here with kids or with a family, do research into schools. Schools in Florida can have a tremendous difference in schools, literally within 30 minutes from each other. One might be a top-rated school, and 30 minutes away, it might not be so top-rated. So you've got to look at things like that.
Another thing worth mentioning that we haven't, if you notice, most of us live a half hour, 20 minutes from Disney. You could live 5 minutes from the back of the Magic Kingdom. It could be transient, though, because it could be very touristy. Not that that's bad, but if you have kids, take that into consideration. You want to be a nice amount of time away where you can get to it when you want to, but not be in vacation mode with tourists all the time. I wouldn't want to go to...
The number of Airbnb communities down here is astonishing. As somebody that works in real estate, it is astonishing. I think we have more Airbnbs per capita than anywhere else in the country, Oh,
wow.
And the other thing too, just to add to that, is before you make the move, I can't stress this enough, find your people. Okay. So whatever community you're in, if you play Dungeons and Dragons, or if you crochet, or if you, there's a Facebook group out there for you. Amy and I have joked about this. Amy Krieger and I have joked about this. There's a Facebook group for everything. Join some of them, ask questions, meet some people. I kid you not. I don't know that we would have lasted if we didn't have Paul, Amy, Jeff, and Dan in our friend group. And then Derek and Panda later, obviously. But Paul, Amy, Jeff, and Dan were lifesavers for us because we didn't know anybody. And I don't know that my girls would have stayed if we hadn't have found our people. And we've expanded that, and it's been great. We've met other people through various things. We went to Boxy Park on Sunday, like Amy was talking about, which was just a phenomenal place to meet people. But no joke, if you're an introvert or if you're somebody that tends to get lonely or depressed, being away from the family, being away from the things, because moving across the country is huge. I cannot stress enough what a culture shock that can be.
Yeah.
If you don't have some kind of support group, it can get really lonely here.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff is right.
Yeah.
Well, I think we could probably, talk about this topic for days. There's literally there's so much to discuss and unpack that even a 1 hour show does not do justice to how important it is to make the right decisions. Jeff made this comment earlier. I will just echo it at this point in time. If it is something serious that you're looking to do, get involved in a Facebook group dedicated to this. And make sure you get yourself a good realtor. We don't have any personal recommendations on that front. We've used some amazing realtors in our time down here, and there are plenty of them around the area. So look on YouTube. I know that there are some people that do a lot of videos on YouTube that cover all of these
community videos,
topics.
neighborhood.
Honestly.
Yeah, so there's a whole other community just dedicated to this. There's someone locally in our community in Claremont that runs a Facebook group and has an Instagram page, and they just talk about what's going on in Claremont. I think it's called Only in Claremont, and it's cool just to hear about what's happening in Claremont. So that's why it is a very big and ever-growing community, and so it's important to just make the right decisions. But also, like Amy, we didn't make the wrong decision. It's just that 3 years later, our decisions changed, and we knew more about the area. Jeff's rode the same roller coaster, and I don't think he's done yet, but still plans to move yet again to kind of get in that perfect area that he wants to be in. And who knows, we could be doing the same thing down the road. Who knows?
We're never moving again.
We've painted walls.
I'm with you. I hate it. I'm with you, Amy.
It's a serious commitment for us to actually paint walls in a house. So I think we're going to be in this house for quite some time. Put your questions that you might have in the comments of this video. We also answer a lot of questions in the DVC fan Facebook group. But if we get enough, maybe follow-up questions related to living down here or just certain areas, maybe we can do a follow-up show and answer some of those questions that you have, because this is a question that does come up. I apologize for those of you hoping for Disney Vacation Club content, but there's enough of us Disney Vacation Club members that have made this leap that we thought it was an important topic to consider. Panda, I'm going to put that Keyholder Club luggage tag in the mail to you here just momentarily.
I really want it. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
Don't do that to me and joke and then not send it, because I'll be waiting at the mail.
Keyholder Club, Keyholder Vacations app on the iOS store or Android store. That is going to do it for this week's episode of the DVC Show. We will see you next Monday.